All right, so we've made it to Terminator Salvation. Yay. I haven't seen this movie in a really long time, so I don't know if I'm going to like it or dislike it more than The Rise of the Machines, or Rise of the Machines, whatever that frickin' movie's called. Can you see that I'm hesitating to watch this? Oh my gosh, this movie has an extended version. Like T2. I guess they thought by giving it an extended version it might improve the movie. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen the extended version. I've only seen the theatrical version, and as I said, that was a long time ago. Let's just get this over and done with. Oh my gosh, guys, Batman's in this movie.
What did we find down there?
You'll be briefed on a need-to-know basis.
Well, I need to know.
Wait, what
Because
the
my man
fuck?
died
No!
down in that hole.
John Connor is on a need-to-know basis. He's taking orders from people, and he's getting yelled at like, this is John Connor! I swear, with Terminator 3 and this one, they don't know what to do with John Connor. They don't understand John Connor. He's the leader of the Resistance. Some might think it's an interesting twist to write John Connor as not the leader, as someone who's like kind of low in the ranks of the Resistance. But I don't like that. I don't like that twist. If you're gonna do John Connor, make him the leader. I mean, this movie also, like, there's a couple moments in here where he's a full-on badass. Like, he just jumped into the ocean. Okay, so apparently John Connor does a regular podcast for the Resistance. That's cool. That kind of makes sense, given how many people actually know of John Connor and how many people would actually die for him. If that's what he's actually doing, like sending out radio transmissions to the rest of the world to inspire them and give them hope, that sounds like something a leader would do. So Skynet somehow found out that Kyle Reese is actually John Connor's father, and if you take Kyle Reese out of the equation, John Connor might never exist. Interesting idea, and I actually like that idea. I like that they did that. I like that as a twist, not the fact that John Connor isn't the leader. What is with this girl? What is with this little girl? Can she, like, sense where what the fuck? I swear, this has been happening since, like, for the past, like, 15 minutes. 10 minutes. 5 minutes. I don't know. But every time a machine approaches from somewhere, she, like, freezes up. She can't be hearing them, because I'm pretty sure she's deaf, and she's not seeing them, I don't think, because in this scene, they were in a building, and this big, giant machine, like, was grabbing people from the ceiling, so I don't understand, like, how. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, I'm also trying to see Anton Yelchin as Kyle Reese, and you know what? Fuck it. He does a way better job than Jai Courtney did. That being said, Anton Yelchin still doesn't quite feel like Kyle Reese, okay? There's just something about the guy that played. I don't even know his name, but the guy who played Kyle Reese in the first Terminator movie, there's something about him, kind of like Linda Hamilton, there's something about her that makes Sarah Connor who she is. There's something about that actor that makes Kyle Reese who he is. And even though it's not the best, Anton Yelchin does a better job at being Kyle Reese than anyone else in the Terminator franchise, besides the original actor who played Kyle Reese, of course. Currently in the movie, Marcus has met up with a chick who was a pilot in the Resistance, and they go on some sort of walk or whatever. I don't know. They get into a scuffle with some human assholes. I really don't care, man. Like, okay, here's the thing. Sam Worthington as an actor, I have no problem with. A lot of people give him shit, just like they give Jai Courtney shit, okay? As an Aussie, I kind of don't like that people keep giving, like, these two Aussie actors shit. Like, they're fine, okay? They're not awful. They're fine, okay? So Sam Worthington in this movie is fine. My problem with his character in this movie is that it's his character. The writing for this character is... There's nothing to this guy. All we know so far is that he was on death row and somehow is still alive. And later in the movie, I'm pretty sure he's like half human, half machine. I kind of like that idea. That's an interesting idea. But this guy as a character, there's nothing to him. He's the most bland and boring character in this entire movie. All right, so I definitely haven't seen this in a while, because a big part of this movie that I just completely forgot about, is that Skynet was faking some signal that could nullify the machines, right? Apparently that was false. That was just Skynet pretending. And that Marcus Wright, Sam Worthington's character, was actually an infiltration unit to lead John Connor away from the Resistance so that John Connor could be killed with no one to save him. So basically everything that's happened in this movie has all been a part of Skynet's big master plan. I don't know how I feel about that. It's not great, but it's not awful either. It's just okay. Okay, that makes the movie a little bit more interesting. I gotta say this. The movie visually looks good. It looks good, okay? The action is good, okay? I thought that I'd hate the action. I thought that I would hate the camera work and the cinematography, but all of that is good. The action is good. The sound design, it's all good. The score at times, whatever. They kind of change the theme of they change the Terminator theme, so it's not so much like the original. Visually though, the thing that does bug me is the fact that it doesn't look like a Terminator movie. Most of the movie is brown. A lot of it takes place, a lot more of it than it should takes place during the day, and the Terminators, like, no one's fighting with plasma rifles. Like, that's a thing from, like, Terminator 3, as bad as that movie is, still did that right. And for the life of me, there's hardly a Terminator in this movie. There is hardly a Terminator. The movie's called Terminator, and there's barely any Terminators in this movie. I wish there were more Terminators. Like, in Terminator 1 and 2 and even 3, all you see is them fighting Terminators, is them fighting Skynet. There's not that much of that in this movie. Only in the final act of this movie do you actually see the Resistance fighting Skynet. It is what it is. I don't know. I wish it focused more on the war between the Resistance and Skynet and less on this guy Marcus, because there's really not that much to his character. You know what? I don't think this extended director's cut really did anything for the movie. I think it's the same movie as the theatrical version. So those are all my thoughts on Terminator Salvation. If they were overwhelmingly negative, that's just how I feel about the movie. But it's not like there weren't parts in this movie that I didn't like, because there are. It's just that this movie doesn't feel like a Terminator movie. As bad as Terminator 3 is, and as confusing as Genesis is, at least those two Terminator films felt like they could fit in the Terminator canon. This one, not really, because visually it doesn't look like a Terminator movie. Like, as a movie, it looks great. It's filmed well. The action is entertaining, okay? But visually, it does not look like a Terminator movie. And there's barely any, like, there's not much of the Resistance versus Skynet. Most of that happens in the third act of the movie. Most of it is Marcus Wright just wandering around. Like, this is really, I think, the most boring Terminator movie in the franchise so far. Don't know how Dark Fate is gonna pan out. I don't know how that's gonna work. But I wouldn't say this. I was going into this movie expecting to hate it more than Terminator 3. And this movie doesn't have any ridiculous, over-the-top, dumb, stupid moments like Terminator 3 does. But that being said, it's a pretty boring movie and doesn't really do anything for me as a Terminator fan and as a fan of movies in general. Anyway, there is one more Terminator film until my review for Terminator Dark Fate, that is Terminator Genesis, and I think I've said this before, but I actually like Terminator Genesis. I actually think it's the best Terminator film since Judgment Day. Yeah, I actually think that. So that is it for my review for Terminator Salvation. Stick around for my review for Terminator Genesis.